Hello, busy single parents. It's me, your favorite author, transformational speaker, and busy single parent advocate, author Mia Turner Whitley, author of Amazon best-selling book, Life According to the Busy Single Parent. Success stories and solutions to bring calm to your chaotic world. Y'all know I gotta clap it up for the busy single parents, especially those busy single parents that are new in leadership. Yeah, that part. Thank you for being your wonderful self and pressing through all the challenges you faced last week. This is your weekly soul pause, a moment just for you. We are in the middle of introductions and excerpts from authors in my book, Life According to the Busy Single Parent. Success stories and solutions to bring calm to your chaotic world. Today we'll be listening or learning about Carmenita. Yes, I'm so excited to introduce you all to her, as we have with all these beautiful tapestries of lived experiences woven by 10 courageous authors who understand the strength, struggle, and sacredness of your story. So again, let me introduce you to our next Amazon best-selling author, Carmenita Bradby. I knew her as Carmenita Bynum. The title of her chapter is A Victorious Journey. So before we get into that, we're going to learn a little bit about her based on her bio. And Carmenita was like my first childhood best friend. And actually the first person that I witnessed to as a youth, I think I was only like 10 years old, maybe a little bit. I think we met in junior high. And she was the first person that I witnessed to. I invited her to church, and Lord, I will never forget that particular Sunday on how the Lord really touched and blessed her. So let's get into her chapter, which is called A Victorious Journey. So before we get into this victorious journey, let me tell you a few things about Carmenita Bradbury. So at the time of press, she was president of the Milwaukee chapter of Speakers, Publishers, and Authors Association. She may still be, I'm not 100%. She is the author, though, of 2 books, Raised by a Child and Meek, Not Weak. She has participated in 4 book collaborations and is in the process of releasing a new book titled Family. Ooh, I bet that's good. In 2019, she received an award for Author of the Year. In 2020, Speaker of the Year. And in 2021, she also received a Leadership Award from SPAA. To read more about her interesting bio, well, you don't have to get the book. You can get that on my website, miaspeaks.com, in the shop tab. So let's get right into her chapter. I don't like really saying stories. I like saying life experiences. And her life experiences is about a victorious journey. Sometimes when I think about a lot of the things that I went through, I wonder, how did I overcome? I used to always think at that moment, why am I going through this? Why am I in this position? Or why me? All the whys. But I did not have the answer. The truth is, God knew how much I could handle. He also knew I would have the strength to make it as long as I put my trust in Him. Of course, at that moment, in the midst of a problem or multiple challenges, I just wanted it all to pass over. Don't we all? Well, I can't speak or say how anyone else feels, but it is not easy trying to make ends meet when the ends are not there. There are times as a single parent, we find ourselves getting creative. And then we have a testimony saying God made a way out of no way. It actually was our faith that prompted the action for God to move on our behalf. When I decided to finally put what the Lord had given me in a book, It was a great revelation of how blessed I truly am. I can write with conviction to tell someone else that just because things don't work in your favor at that moment, it does not mean you are not favored. As a young girl, I used to enjoy playing with dolls, cutting out paper dolls, jumping rope, playing house, cooking, etc. But I never thought some of these skills would be used even more when I became a single parent at 17 years old. I think a lot of people were just as surprised as I was, and others were disappointed. Nevertheless, I was responsible for this life growing inside of me. There were times when I was afraid because there was a little girl inside crying out for help because babies and parenthood did not come with an instructional manual like schoolwork. Of course, as a young woman, there were many financial and emotional challenges that I had to deal with. I was scared and ashamed at the same time. In my case, I had just graduated from high school and was working a summer job, which was not going to cut it. Since I was with my son's father at the time, things did not really seem to be that bad. Perhaps because we married a couple of years later and continued to plan a family. I obtained a degree in arts and science, cosmetology. For about 5 years, I enjoyed the profession, but after many long days of work, painful feet, and limited transportation, I had to make some decisions. I was blessed with a better job. However, a couple of years later, I found myself divorced with 5 kids. I was a single parent. I ended up with a new set of challenges and the stakes were very high. I continued working and taking care of my children because that's what a parent does. So many times people complimented me because I always had a smile on my face. I had to encourage myself because there were times when my emotions got the best of me, but I am thankful God gave me the strength to keep fighting. Now I'm going to go through. She shares more of her wonderful life experiences, and I'm going to read a little bit from her poem that she uses to wrap up the end of her chapter. I Have Learned by Carmenita Bradby. I used to be ashamed to tell people some of the stuff I went through. But as I matured and grew in God, I understood there is nothing new under the sun. I was not the only one who had been lied to and left feeling blue. I was not the only one feeling down and who needed a breakthrough. As I look back and see, as unfortunate as it may be, there are others worse off than me. It was not the best of times, but I cannot give up, for that would be remiss. I would pray and ask God to bring me out of this, the tears and the pain. I used to think to myself, this is insane. I wipe my tears and I release the fears I carried throughout the years. To read the remaining portion, purchase the book. Life According to the Busy Single Parent. I appreciate her being so vulnerable and sharing what it took for her to be victorious. And as we are wrapping up today's session, what will it take for you to be victorious in whatever situation you may be facing today? All right. So thank you for joining me. We look forward to not next week, the week after, the week after, where we will go on to our next author and learn a little bit more about life, about the busy single parent. And don't forget, take 5 minutes of self-care just for you.